we have some explaining to do. Yeah, that was our first episode in what, like 2 weeks?
Yeah,
I think
2 weeks. I think so. Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah, so let me quickly explain because we basically left all of our loyal listeners in the dark in terms of why we've basically been MIA the last little bit, probably last 2 weeks or something like that. So last week, so one part of it's very, very short. I was in Florida up until Sunday, so
Yep.
I wasn't going to record in Florida. It's my vacation basically, so that's why we didn't record for last week. And then the week before that, I was getting very, very sick very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So basically, long story short, I was just at home because as one is during the pandemic, and I noticed I had some oral pain, like my dental pain. My mouth was really, really sore, like not really, really sore, but like it was like it started off being a little bit sore. It's like, okay, it might not be anything.
Yeah.
He was using like Listerine, antibacterial stuff to see if that would help. It didn't. And then eventually the pain got like really, really, really bad. So I said I was gonna go to the dentist, and I did some research because like I could also feel my head was very slowly starting to get like a headache. So I did some research, and again, I don't know exactly what it was, but I'm assuming it was a sinus infection. So, because like it was like my head and my overall, like the right side of my face, just felt like it was literally about to explode. Um, a lot of congestion, anything like that. Anyways, so I was basically in bed doing nothing for like 4 days because like even like I just had no. For those of you who haven't had sinus infections before, they fucking suck.
Me.
They're awful. Like you have
I-
so much pain
I've never had
in
one.
your head. It is awful. And anyways, so I had to take some time to recover. It was a situation where like I was getting like maybe 4 hours of sleep, 3.5 hours of sleep for like 2 nights. It was quite awful. Couldn't sleep. Anyways, um,
But so did you confirm it was a sinus infection from
I
someone? Or?
didn't. I
Okay.
didn't. However, like right now, so to put into perspective, I think I initially I think I started feeling it like a week, 2 weeks ago now, which is like 14 days.
Yep.
And that's typically give or take when like sinus infections clear out. I do still feel it a little bit, but like in terms of what like I'm going like in terms of like how I feel like just monumental or like exponentially better now than I did like 2 weeks ago. um so I mean, I'm
It's good to hear.
probably gonna see a doctor in the next couple of days just to make sure that's not like anything else, because I do have an appointment with a doctor to discuss something else, but yeah, we'll see. So um
That's
that's really
good.
why we've been gone for so long. It's been a really interesting 2 weeks to say the least, but we're back. We're gonna get back on our regular schedule, um health permitting, I guess.
Yeah.
um
I
and
also I also kind of just took the last week off. Like I did not do
yeah,
any taxi squad pod
yeah,
work over the last week
yeah,
too. I was like, hey,
no one
time
has.
is gone. I'm gonna use this as like a mini 1 week vacation too, because I figured here until the end of the season. So we got
Yeah.
trade deadline coming up in like 2 weeks now,
Yep.
and then we got playoffs beginning a few weeks after that, and then
Yeah.
playoffs are insane in and of themselves, and then it'll be free
Yeah.
frenzy before we know it. So I figured I'm gonna get in my week now because the next two
Yeah.
3 months we're gonna be going ham.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming out again. We're gonna figure out how we're gonna do this in terms of, because I think there's gonna be obviously gonna be a lot of content that might mean increasing how frequently we record, might not. Just depends on how busy we are really, because again, this is um
Yeah.
basically just depends on. Anyways,
Yeah,
so
I took some time today to figure out what the heck we're gonna talk about. And as I was researching, I'm like, it'll be very hard to fit this into like a 1 hour show.
yeah,
And typically we aim for like just under an hour. If you look
yeah,
at all of our previous episodes, we've been very consistent with how long they've been. It's like
yeah,
53 minutes, 55 minutes, 57 minutes, 54
yeah.
minutes, like the last 5 or 6 in a row. So I think that's a
Mhm.
good standard for us. But considering that, we're gonna need a couple episodes at least here, just to
Yeah,
record today, just to get all this info out. So
yeah,
what you might end up seeing is we're still gonna record twice a week, but we might record one right now, and then in a few hours today. We're gonna record another one,
Yeah. Yeah.
possibly another one on Thursday. So we'll see how much info we have to cover, how long it takes. But as of right now, before we even start, there's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
butt ton of stuff that has happened.
That's what happens when you take 2 weeks off, but that's okay.
But it's like we took 2 weeks off, but also everything happened.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
And like the world
Yeah.
also kind of started
Yep.
happening.
Yep.
So we'll get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know, like, what did you do in Florida though? Like, what rides did you go on and stuff?
I basically spent like 85 to 90% of my time in Florida at Disney World.
Yeah.
So basically I flew in the Wednesday night, gone to our hotel, then basically spent like Thursday, like basically spent all day between like Thursday to Sunday, like just like the Saturday night at the parks. And then Sunday morning we also went to a park, but our flight was at 9:30, so I had to cut it a bit short, left at like, I think we head to the airport at like around like around 6 o'clock, and then kind of flew home. Like that's one thing about Disney World, for those who haven't taken any recent trips there, but like when you go, there's such a time commitment that you're basically spending almost all your time there.
Yep. Yep.
So no complaints at all. Again, I have no complaints with that. That was basically the only thing that we got to do, because that's really all I really wanted to do in the first
Yep.
place. So it was fun though. It was a nice little trip. First time I've been to the States since the pandemic started. So nice
Wow.
to go back. Yeah.
I went to Florida in 2019 with my family, and we went to Universal. I was a huge fan of that. Simon, you hate Universal.
Me and my good friend hate Universal. We actually talked about that quite at length on our
Come
trip. But
on.
yes. Yeah.
But Disney World, it's Disney World, right? Not Disneyland.
Yeah, it's Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World has its like unique charm in Florida. And I
It
regret
really
not having
does.
enough time to go there when I went to Florida a few years ago.
Yeah.
But
You'll
one day
go
I will.
eventually.
One day I will.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
And then I'm going to copy your entire itinerary. So
Good.
thanks in
Do
advance.
it. You'll have a blast. I can promise you that.
Okay. Also, happy International Women's Day. We're recording this on
Yo, facts.
Tuesday, March 8th. Happy International Women's Day. Big shout out to all the women in our life. You make everything possible. Shout out to mom. Love you, mom. Shout out to all of my female friends. Shout out to all my female family members. Love you guys so much. And I'm gonna post like an Instagram story on my own account later tonight. I think I saw this cool post somewhere. Someone posted it about like, here's like 10 influential women that you probably have never heard about or were educated on. So
Yeah.
ooh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Post that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
hell yeah.
I repeat that sentiment. That's a very like, it kind of says a lot that I think a lot of people don't really take this day for, like, it feels like a lot that they just take it for granted a lot. Which is kind of, I think you'd say that a lot about in terms of a lot of the stuff that kind of surrounds women, whether it's women's sports or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone, including myself, is very appreciative of the stuff that women do, like whether it's your mother, whether it's your sister, whether it's your friends, whatever. There's a lot that they do that I think that gets very underappreciated, or not, that doesn't really get enough recognition. So yeah. So if you have a minute today, be sure to tell all the meaningful women in your life how much they mean to you. Because again, it's something that's very important that probably doesn't happen anywhere near as much as it probably should.
Yep. Okay. So happy National Women's Day. One other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the thick of things here. Highlights. They have we started posting them. And we posted a few before we went on our mini vacay. So definitely check out the TikTok, check out the Instagram pages, check them out. I have more locked and loaded, ready to upload whenever, Simon, you're ready.
Oh yes, sir. I'm always ready. But yeah.
So over the next few weeks, you're gonna see them popping off. Let's see what happens. I'm excited.
Me too.
Me
Let's grow the game. We also hit 50 followers on Twitter, so that was fun.
Oh no way! That's sick.
Yeah, that's a little milestone. So thank you to all of our Twitter followers for following us back and for
Yay.
following the Taxi Squad on Twitter. Working on being a bit more active, but yeah, greatly appreciate the following, obviously, and yeah.
I have some ideas. I think maybe adding a person to manage their social or something like that might be very useful. I don't know. You and I can talk about
Good.
this later on.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is for off the pod stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going back in time now because the last time we recorded was February 17th.
Mm-hmm.
We posted a couple episodes the following week because I staggered them. I was like, okay, Simon's sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on vacation.
Yeah.
So I staggered the releases a little bit. But since the last time we recorded was Feb 17th, I think the thing that happened next after that was Rodion
Mm-hmm.
Amirov. He was unfortunately diagnosed with a brain tumor. Uh,
Oh
statement
yeah.
from
Yeah.
statement from Kyle Dubas mentioned Rodion commenced the 2021-22 season with Salavat Yufa of the KHL, but suffered an injury to open the season. During the course of his recovery from the injury, he developed some new unrelated symptoms that required ongoing extensive investigation over the last few months. So there's a lot of popping going on. Give me one sec.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, I think this is better. Statement came out. He has been diagnosed with a brain tumor, which absolutely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts are with him. I hope he makes a full recovery. This is a very, very scary thing. Our condolences. I hope he will make a full recovery. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
We hope
Yeah.
to find out more. It has been a little bit of time now since we've heard about this sort of thing happening to anyone in the NHL. I believe Brian Boyle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Brian Boyle had cancer, but I don't think it
Sorry.
was a brain tumor. Yeah.
There was another player. I'm getting this mixed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You never like to see this happen, but I hope we find out more in the coming weeks.
Yeah. So Brian Boyle had leukemia. So he made a full recovery. He's fine now. I think he's still playing. He's with the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. So um that obviously gives you a bit more hope with sorry not like I don't want to say gives you hope as in like it looks really unfortunate, but like you said, we obviously do hope he gets better. We obviously hope he makes a full recovery. That's obviously like it's um in situations like this, hockey is just completely like it's a non-factor. I speak for both of us in saying like the primary thing that I think everyone should be talking about right now is just Rodion Amirov's health and make sure he can get back to
Yeah.
100% like health wise. Um, but yeah, I think it's pretty good that it seems like from what I've seen, he's in pretty good spirits, which is very like it's incredible. It's kind of incredible actually, because I mean, like it's not this isn't very light stuff. This is very kind of it's scary. You said it best yourself. So I mean, again, we both obviously hope that Rodion Amirov makes a full recovery because like the kid's only like 20, 21, and like
I want
it's
to say he's younger than
so
that.
might be like it's so fucking shitty. Like it's awful.
Yeah, let me quickly look up. Amirov, Rodion Amirov is currently 20 years old.
Yeah.
He just turned
Yeah.
20 a few months ago.
Yeah.
Man, he's had a really tough season as well. I was looking at his what he's done this season. He started the preseason on the first line of his KHL team, but
Yeah.
then just before the regular season started, he got injured, missed the team's first 8 games. Then he
Yeah.
returned in September, but then went back on the sidelines with another injury. So then he's been like kind of up and down. And then in December, he got a positive COVID test. That's the last time he played. And then started developing some symptoms. And then they diagnosed him with a brain tumor. So really, really tough season. Least prospects themselves, a couple of them have had some really, really scary
Yeah.
seasons. I think Nick Robertson also went through something like pretty significant this season. I forgot what exactly it was. I believe it was
He
a
fractured his leg.
fractured leg. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah. 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 Um,
It's tough.
before we get into any more before we get into more hockey related stuff, and I'm not sure if this was on your agenda. But I think we should probably make mention of it. But uh, I really hope if again I don't think we have any listeners in this region, but I really hope the people of Ukraine are the people of Ukraine are they are in trouble. They're not in trouble in terms of like they're in trouble, but like they
Yes. And I was
I'm
going to
trying to
get into
come up.
that in a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to like I'm trying to put the words together here because I don't think I'm having trouble finding words to kind of voice how disappointing and upsetting and frustrating and maddening
Yep.
the events that are currently transpiring in Ukraine are. Um Again, hopefully sooner rather than later they can find peace and they can kind of go on and live the rest of their lives. They can find um at least some, I don't say retribution, but basically find some type of way to kind of move on from this and live the rest of their life. But it's absolutely insane to me, and it's so sad to basically learn, like not just learn but kind of see the events that have transpired so far. So again, maybe we can get into this a bit later if you have any additional thoughts or anything like that, because I think this is it's obviously a very serious issue.
Yep.
It's something that should be talked about more, in my opinion. But it gets just so devastating, tragic, unfortunate, unnecessary. Like you can pick so many words and adjectives of these events, and I don't even think that'd be doing it justice.
I had my notes on this. I was going to mention this later in the episode, but I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought it up now because I think it is more important to talk about this.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I echo literally exactly what you said. We all know what's going on in Ukraine. Like, I'm just gonna say what I have to say about this right now too.
Go for it.
We don't really have to talk extensively about what's going on. I think a lot of the Western media now has taken grasp of the situation and they give constant updates. So we're not going to be a podcast that gives you the updates on the situation.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you to follow your local news, make sure you're in the know of what's happening or in the now, whatever it is, and make sure you follow everything. Make sure you know what's going on. I myself thought, like, as humanity, as a society, like we were over this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, very wrong. The last decade, in fact, has kind of proven me wrong. But I thought
Yeah.
like maybe we were trending toward a more peaceful time in society, right?
Yeah.
I guess some world leaders don't see it that way, which is
Unfortunately.
very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Some people in the world still have very invasionist, um, shit disturbing, need to gain more land sort of ideas on their agenda, which is very sad. And so, yeah, like it's sad. It sucks what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm keeping myself in the as informed as possible on what's happening. I'm trying
Yeah.
to share as much as I can to my friends, and this has hit like our home directly as well. So I know a lot of Ukrainian and Russian friends, and
Mhm.
like nearly every single person I talk to has condemned this thing. Many organizations across the world as well. We see the
Yeah.
impact on our gas prices. They're hitting $2, probably more than that sometime this week.
Yeah.
And there's like nothing we can do about it until the war stops.
Yeah.
And as of right now, this is like day 14 of the invasion, something ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if there's any end in sight at the moment. Obviously, we hope
Yep.
it'll end soon, but
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like yeah, and like obviously, the fact that the war has affected Canada is a good point. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but in saying that, I think it's also kind of important to realize that even though things like gas prices are obviously they're being affected, and there's other different things and different perspectives of Canada that are being affected by the war. Um, at least at this current moment in time, like at least to me, it just feels so insignificant compared to the actual fact that
Yes.
there's so much more happening in Ukraine
Yes.
than
Sorry.
yeah.
Me
Yeah,
saying
no,
gas
yeah.
prices.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like that's
No,
the
for sure.
biggest
Yeah,
takeaway from
no.
this. I'm
Yeah.
just saying the
Yeah.
impacts of this are being felt all over the
Yeah.
world.
Absolutely.
What's happening
Yeah.
in Ukraine right now is a disaster. Like it's
Oh
a
yeah.
humanitarian crisis right now.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
obviously we can go on and on about why that's not happening, but it is happening right now.
Yeah.
And if you can donate, please donate. Spread the news, condemn this as much as possible. I don't know how much
Yeah.
impact our individual voices will have on this, but like we have a platform, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use
Yeah.
this to spread the news as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's, man, like it's so like even just seeing the but there's people currently living in bomb shelters and living in basically cellars right now, basically scared to step out on the street with with the thought of basically losing your life is so incredibly sad and just disappointing because it's just so unnecessary. Like, and
Yeah.
it's anyways, this isn't something that we again, we're not really the people to give you all the information or kind of what's happening because that's not like we don't because it's we don't have the answers for you. Like just being straight up, we don't have all the insight or the answers um for why this is happening or how we can prevent this. But like in terms of, but I think it is important, especially for even just regular people, not regular people, but like the average person who doesn't really follow all this to kind of um stay knowledgeable with what's happening, continue to spread awareness for the stuff that has happening in Ukraine, and kind of explore ways that you can um help because again at this point like anything is better than nothing because it's yeah
Yep.
anyways it's
Yep. Yep.
so
Yep.
incredibly sad.
And there is Ukraine's Prime Minister Zelensky.
Hmm.
If there is anything to be taken away from this that has any positive light, it's
Hmm.
the bravery, the courage of the Ukrainian people. Their prime
Oh yeah.
minister is a fucking badass. Um,
Yeah.
we all know what he said. I think there was a call about the United States possibly asking if they could evacuate him, and he said, "I don't need a ride. I need ammunition."
Yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago, and since then
Yeah.
he's been on the front lines. He's the one. We've seen so many pictures of him. Like, man, what a guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hope, like right now I can tell he's a clear good leader for the Ukrainian people. I just hope that this is resolved as peacefully as possible. Right now, that's sounds almost
That's really it, right?
wrong for
Like
me to
it's
say
really all you
that, but
want. I think it's really all you can really ask for. Just for it to be resolved as peacefully as possible. Again, at this point I kind of have my doubts about that, but hopefully things can kind of get resolved peacefully sooner rather than later. But yeah,
yeah,
anyways.
we'll see what happens. The notes that I have regarding the situation, I have them on the standpoint of sports. So we talked
Okay.
about the impact of this Russian invasion of Ukraine, but I want to make kind of a turn now, kind of a right turn, and focus on its impact on sports, mainly hockey.
Sure.
So
Yep.
on February 28th, the NHL condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine and urged a peaceful resolution as quickly as possible. On that date, they suspended their relationships with business partners in Russia, and they are pausing Russian language social and digital media sites, which is big, which is very, very
Yep.
big.
That's massive. Massive. Yep.
Yeah. And that was on February 28th. Since then, a lot more has happened.
Hmm.
Like, let me just pull this up over here. Um, Ovechkin, when he had an interview, I don't know if you saw that.
I saw it. I didn't really have a chance to read all of it, but I saw some of it. Yeah.
So Ovechkin, he is like on his social media account, he's known to be a supporter of Putin, and I think he has like a few videos or a picture or
Yeah.
something on his Instagram account or social
His
media.
profile picture is him shaking hands with Vladimir Putin.
There
Yeah.
you go. Okay, so that's obvious. That's pretty blatant. I mean, it is what it is. But when he was asked
Yeah.
about like what his stance is, whether he wants to support the war, which side is he on, how does he feel about this, if he had to say anything about this to Putin, what he would say. And obviously, you're not going to expect anything out of him. He's a hockey
Yeah.
player. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he's that involved with politics to even give an appropriate answer. And even if he wanted to give an appropriate answer, man, I bet he's scared.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like any wrong
Yeah.
word from Alex Ovechkin or any other Russian player in the NHL or even in the world of sports, I'd say most of them are scared as fuck about saying
Oh
anything
yeah.
wrong about the situation.
Hmm. Yeah. You have to be right. Like, um, I guess it's kind of relatable. Like Artemi Panarin a couple years ago spoke out against Vladimir Putin, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to take an unrelated leave of absence. Sorry,
Yeah,
unrelated in air quotes leave of absence. Um,
to make sure his
like
family's
man,
okay.
yeah, like um, I feel bad. Sorry, I don't feel bad. Like I like I would like we obviously never know what Ovechkin's thinking. I genuinely believe that like he condemns it because I think I believe he actually came out and condemned it, which is good. Um,
He said, so I'm gonna add this before you
yeah.
continue. He said, it's a hard
Hmm.
situation. I have family back in Russia, so and it is scary moments, but we can't do anything. We just hope it's gonna end soon and everything is gonna be all right. Please, no more war. It doesn't matter who's in the war. I think we live in a world where we like to have peace.
Yeah.
That's all he really said. He said that kind of over and over again. But yes,
Yeah.
he said Putin is his president, but he's not into politics. He just hopes everything is going to be done soon. He's not in control of the
Yeah.
situation.
So
Yeah.
like yeah. Anyways, man, like it's tough. It really is tough because like you'd obviously love him to come out and condemn everything that happens. I hope the Ukrainians are okay, stuff like that, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Um, but like he's also a hockey player. Um, like he doesn't really have any impact or anything in regards to what's happening in Ukraine. But anyways,
I
yeah,
mean,
like
it's it's hard to say. I think he does. I think he definitely would have some impact, but
abs-
he's scared.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
like
He
it's
can't
just
really
such
say anything.
like it's such a fucked up situation. Like it's and like it's difficult for me to say anything other than that because like man, like how can you not like just think of what happened with like there's obviously like probably more like scarier situations in terms of like in terms of people that have come out and like could basically condemn Putin's actions, like Panarin, for example. But like, how can you not just be fucking terrified?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think yeah, like it's
Some people have. Um, but most players in the NHL, they're very quiet about the situation.
mm,
I think who was it? Nikita Zadorov
right, yeah,
posted on Instagram saying "No war, stop it."
yeah,
Um, and there was, I think, there was a rumor that Zadorov could be blacklisted from playing for his country's national team just as a result of that.
big whoop, whatever. Sorry, like I mean,
Yeah,
if you're Zadorov, like you, why the fuck would you care? Like, um, anyways, like
it's
I okay, so like the other side of I've genuinely wondered about because like I saw some of the quotes. Like I wonder how much of this was the Capitals also saying if we don't say anything that's like super um that's like super political or anything like that because like the Washington Capitals did also have released a pretty disappointing policy recently where fans were banned from bringing in signs in support or like with
hmm.
anything that had to do with the Ukraine and Russia situation. I hated that personally. To me, that made absolutely no sense.
Is this
Um,
censorship?
yeah, yeah, like I don't get it. And I think they only recently came out with a statement basically condemning this stuff that was happening in Ukraine, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Um, but like
A lot
man,
of people are saying like, oh, sports, sports is sports and politics are politics, but no, 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 no. They are very, very related.
hmm
Sports are often an area, although we might like to think like, oh, it's all fun and games, but it often carries politics within it. And
hmm
this is an example of this. Like Dan Milstein, he's an agent for a lot
yeah,
of different Russian players, and he himself said that like there's a lot of pressure on them right now to say the right things,
hmm
to make sure they're not
yeah,
saying anything wrong, and it's just like a really difficult time for them in the league right
yeah,
now. So if anyone is gonna go on the record and make fun of them for not
yeah,
blatantly condemning the situation or not going on
hmm
the air and saying stop invading Ukraine, think about
exactly,
think about their side of the coin as well. Like
yeah,
what
yeah,
happens to people in Russia if they condemn Putin.
yeah. Like here's the thing too, right? Like people say like keep politics out of sport, but human rights isn't politics. It's not.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like and that like I think that's something that I've seen like because there's been so many things that people have like talked about in terms of we're like well keeping politics out of sport like most recently like I think the biggest one like that I've seen and especially the National Football League is like a lot of again like there's a lot of American states and cities who are very conservative, who don't think that like players should be able to kneel during the national anthem. They think it's they think it's political. They think it's politics. I think it's like it's ruining the sport. But like human rights and standing up for what you believe in isn't political. It's anyways. It's that again. This is a like that aspect of it's something more for another discussion or another day. But like it's been kind of disappointing to see maybe not necessarily in this situation because it looks like the majority of stuff I've seen has been overwhelmingly positive in terms of condemning this stuff that's been happening in Russia, which is great. That should be everyone's first reaction. But um it's just kind of disappointing at times to see kind of the reaction that other stuff gets around the league, and because
Yeah. There's
like it's missing the point basically. Like,
yeah.
but anyways,
Players have Russian players in the NHL. They have and Ukrainians. They have families back home, so they're
yeah.
worried about their playing careers over here. They're trying their best to manage their playing careers over here, but now they got to focus on that as well. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, if you're Ukrainian, you're obviously thinking about them. If you're Russian, you can't say anything wrong because now you're also thinking about them.
Yeah.
It's just a tough situation, man.
Yeah.
I wanna move forward a little bit. IHF
Yeah.
suspended Russian and Belarusian players from international play recently. This also happened late February.
Mhm.
So any 2022 event, including the Continental Cup, U18, Hockey World Championship, etc., everything. No Russian or Belarusian athletes will compete.
Mhm.
I believe FIFA has also gone out and they said Russia and Belarus will no longer compete in the FIFA World Cup 2022, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll look it up right now. Hold on.
EA Sports has also removed Russian and Belarusian national and club teams from NHL 2022.
Yeah.
NHL 22. They said that we stand with the people of Ukraine and join the voices around the world calling for peace. So, like every large hockey organization has gone out and tried to do something, which is good. I like it. Jaromir Jagr he held a game in Prague. Sorry, I don't know how to say that.
Prague. Yeah.
Prague, the Czech Republic, to support Ukraine. He got a donation from the NHL as well to do that. He raised $160,000 on Tuesday, which is I think today. Wow, yeah. He drew 14,000 people in an 18,000 seat arena in Czech Republic, and all that money went toward helping Ukraine refugees flee.
That's crazy. Good for Yager. Good for Yager. Holy
Hell
cow.
Yeah. Yep. So there's a lot going on.
So Russia was banned from FIFA, by the way. They're appealing it, but they're currently banned, and I can't foresee FIFA lifting the ban.
Yeah, I don't know about Belarus. Was Belarus also banned, or did they even?
I only saw Russia, but
Okay.
anyways, if we're wrong, someone can yell at us.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's okay. I mean, we're trying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, yeah.
It's tough though. We'll try our best to keep updating whenever possible. We won't obviously we can't make this a Ukraine invasion centered.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like it's tough because like again, while we can't really speak to much greater volume or much greater than we already have about the situation. If you want to hear more, go explore like actual politics podcasts or things that actually or other resources where you can actually learn about the situation. Because I mean, I can tell you right now, you're not gonna learn much from here in terms of us.
Yeah.
like it's
our thoughts. What we'll do
exactly.
is we'll try our best to give you the sports side of what's going on. But for the actual information, you have your local news networks. Please follow them.
Yeah, and you have your own resources. You know where to find resources. You know how you can explore the resources. So like I would strongly encourage anyone who's interested in the situation to look that up, because like that's probably the best way. You're gonna get the information you're looking for. So
okay. Let me think about what we can go from here. We've been going for about 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So what we could do is we could talk about the 2 trades the Leafs made. Or
yeah,
you remember those?
Or
I wanted to ask you this question for a long time now.
Okay,
I know it's
let's do the
because
question.
It's because I know you're a supporter of this sport.
Oh, okay.
and you like the sport a lot.
Oh, okay.
I just want your
Is it the
entire
sports
thoughts.
betting thing you're gonna ask me
No,
about?
no, 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 no. I want
Okay.
your entire thoughts on MLB right now. Go.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry, that was really loud. Okay. This rant is like I've been. Oh my
Go for it.
god. Okay. Who? So okay. Is everyone ready for opening day? I hope so, but the league isn't. Okay, so hold on. I need to lay down some context here. Okay.
Okay.
So for those people who follow baseball, I'm sure you know what's going on right now. For those of you who don't follow baseball and primarily follow hockey, I'm gonna try to sum this up. Um, so in 2012, sorry, after the 2012 season, the NHL had to negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement.
Yep.
Now, if you want to know what that is, look it up. It's a lot. It's basically um a lot of financial stuff, a lot of business stuff. It's revenue sharing, it's luxury tax for MLB, that is like salary cap in the NHL, hard cap, soft cap, stuff like that. It's basically a bunch of guidelines of how they want the game to be played, which is fine. Okay, fine. In 2012 and 2013, the NHL and the NHLPA, the NHL Players Association, couldn't come to an agreement before their deadline or whatever, so the season was cut short. It was a shortened season. It was 48 games. Leafs made the playoffs that year. Broke my heart, anyways. Um, uh, the MLB is currently going through that process right now, and there's a bunch of reasons why. And to sum it up with you, and I'm like, again, if you, I can't emphasize this enough. If you want to know all the information, go to ESPN, go to MLB.com. There's a lot of really good writers who are writing about the situation in the MLB. Um, but basically, to basically try to sum it up in a couple words, the MLB revenues have been going up. The opportunities for players to make more money has been staying flat. So the players are basically feeling like they have the right to earn more money. Whether or not you agree or disagree with that, that's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into that. It's not. I don't think it's really anyone's business, but people like to take sides in these argument. I just hate it. Um, and I hate it because we are now, as someone who is a genuine fan of the sport, it like the interest in the sport is already down. Average age of the fan is going up and up and up every year.
Which is bad.
Not attract, which is bad. Not attracting new fans. Um, and we're getting to the point now. And again, this is something I keep hearing, and this is something I couldn't agree more with. The sport of baseball, if it keeps going the way it is going, it will become irrelevant. And I think the longer this goes on, the more fans are going to be lost. And as someone who, like, because I watch a lot of baseball. I'm in a fantasy baseball league, keeper league. Came in second place last year in the regular season. Very disappointing. But anyways, long story short, like, man, like, it's so frustrating. It's like, and there's no easier way to put it. And then you have, because really right now it feels like so much of the league and the players association's energy is being focused into how can we convince the fans that it's the other team of the other side's fault, instead of actually trying to resolve the issue. So it sucks. I hate it. um I'm definitely frustrated with the sport and the league right now. um like, it's, man, like, I was looking forward to going to opening day, or an opening day, like, the Jays home opener, and having a really good time. But like now it's just like I can barely even think about the sport right now without like just wanting to just like nix all allegiance I have to that sport, because it's so dumb, man. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But like, it's important. Don't get me wrong, but I just think there's a way bigger picture to the way that's being looked at right now from the perspective of from the MLB and the MLBPA. But like, I don't think it matters. I don't know.
Well, what do you mean it doesn't matter though? Like the opinion of the NHL and MLB.
No, I like I what I meant was, it doesn't matter in the sense that they're not the MLB and MLB, the MLBPA aren't currently taking the optics into account, which there's nothing we can do about it. That's more why I say it doesn't really matter. What I say or what the average fan say doesn't matter to them. Um, like this is like the third year. This is potentially going to be the third year in a row, or I think last year was 162 games. This is going to be the second year out of the last 3 years where they're basically going to have a shortened season. The first one was because of COVID, which was fine, but like part of the reason it was shortened is because they couldn't come to a CBA agreement.
Yep.
Same thing. So the thing is, we're basically in a millionaire versus billionaire situation right now. Again, I'm not a business major. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know everything about luxury tax or about like the way that revenues work or the way that or basic. I'm not going to give people advice on how to run their business or how they should be getting paid. That's not my business. Like it just seems like the optics right now just seem so poor, given that they're basically fighting over they're fighting over money in a time where people are still recovering from COVID. People are still a lot of people still don't have jobs. A lot of people were laid off during the pandemic. So like,
But at the
while
same
that
time, at the same
Mhm.
time, I find it hard to side with the billionaires.
Me too, me too. My thing is, as a fan right now, I'm not siding with anyone. I'm not siding with the players. I'm not siding with the owners. While I understand where the player's perspective, I'm so incredibly frustrated with both sides right now that
Hmm.
I'm trying not. It's difficult for me to take a side.
I'm not as educated on the situation as you probably are, but from what I know is so this is just based off of the
Mm-hmm.
letter from the commissioner, and this came out on March 1st.
Oh, I hated that letter. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. But go ahead.
It just seemed like a very, very passive aggressive letter.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Manfred, and I'm just gonna
Who's the
skim through it.
commissioner? For those of you who do not know,
The commissioner
Robert.
of MLB. I'm gonna skim through it. Basically, he mentioned, I'd hoped against hope that I would not have to be in the position of canceling games. They are now. I think the first
Mm-hmm.
two series, at least for the Blue Jays, has been canceled now, which were against the Rays.
So here's the thing about that. They set a hard deadline or whatever back last or 2 weeks ago, like last Wednesday or Thursday was it? Didn't come to an agreement. So as a result, they said they were going to cancel it, which is fine. But apparently now, they have set a new deadline, which is tonight.
Oh,
If they can come to agreement tonight, then they feel like they can get an 162 game season in. But is it realistic? I don't think so. So I think all fans should basically be under the assumption that there's going to be games canceled. But anyways, go ahead.
they said, I want to assure our fans that our failure to reach an agreement was not due to a lack of effort on the part of either party. I feel like it is.
Yep.
Players came here for 9 days, worked hard, and tried to make a deal. I appreciate their effort. Blah blah blah. He said they've listened to the PA throughout the process. The primary goal of the PA has been to increase pay for younger players, which makes sense.
Yep.
As I said previously, we agree and share that goal. We offered to raise the minimum salary to 700 grand, an increase of 130 grand from 2021. We offered to create an annual bonus pool of $30 million for the very best young players. Basically, they're offering 33% raise to nearly 2/3 of MLB players. I think that's what at least Robert Manfred said. I don't think the NHLPA wants to meet on that.
Yeah.
So my assumption is they want more.
Yeah.
What else? What else? What else? The proposal also addressed player and fan concerns about issues like service time and competitive issues.
Those are not
So
fan issues, but sure, go ahead.
yeah, like I'm reading this part
Yeah,
and it
like
said,
no, yeah, I just mean like yeah, like just conceptually in terms of I don't get why Robert Manfred feels like those are strictly ownership. And anyways, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, he said baseball would for the first time have a draft lottery,
Which
and
I
that
think
there
is
would
great.
be an incentive system to encourage clubs to promote top prospects to their opening day rosters. Um, blah blah blah. Hmm, is that something that fans really care about? I think fans just want baseball, no? Like,
Yes, it's like yes and no. For the most part, no. Um, But the main thing I think, and the main reason, um, anyone, and I think the big thing again, if people who follow the sport will might agree with me. If you do, if you disagree, again, feel free to yell at us or whatever on Twitter or anything like that. But like the main message in this thing has been competitiveness. I think both. I think especially. I think both the players. I think the players feel that the owners are not spending enough money to be competitive. So that's currently why the main thing you're going to hear a lot of is the CBT, which is a competitive balance tax, or a lot of people know it as a luxury tax. So the luxury tax, the competitive balance tax, basically how much a team can spend up to without facing a tax. Teams who spend over that limit have to face a penalty. Um, so like for example, it's like um, for those of you who watch Moneyball, the Oakland Athletics, for example, or who are considered to be like a small market team in air brackets, because I don't really think any team that's worth over $1 billion is not a small market. Like, and I think all the teams worth over $1 billion. The main like so teams like the with like really big budget teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, your typical like major like big spender teams historically have spent over that threshold. Um, they're not doing that anymore, or at least teams aren't. So, for example, like the Boston Red Sox, I think it was 2 years ago now. They went out and traded like a top 5 player in Mookie Betts because they understood he was going to be a free agent soon and they didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to go over that luxury tax because they would basically get penalized for how much money they were spending. The New York Yankees did that historically, or at least I think they did it not recently, but like in the past they've been a team who has historically spent over the luxury tax. That's something the owners no longer want to do, because they feel that um, they just want to spend their money, which is fine, I guess, to a certain extent. But and the players just feel like they want a higher luxury tax so teams can spend more money without being penalized. That's the easiest way I can put it. The owners don't want to do that because they don't want to spend money, which is understandable. It's just, man, the overall theme of competitiveness isn't a fan issue though. It's not. To some fans it is, like I'm sure like the Florida Marlins, for example, it's an issue where they haven't been competitive for a while, but like, man, that could go. Yeah.
Apparently, they're looking at changing the playoff format. So the
Yeah.
players have a 12-team format that they are now agreeing on. What is the
Mhm.
typical baseball playoff format?
Okay, so for the baseball, so for baseball, you have three. So so there's American League and there's National League. So the MLB, which is technically one league, is split
Yeah.
up into American League and National League. That's basically your two conferences in hockey terms. So for each league or each conference, I'm going to call it, there's three divisions. So in the playoff for baseball, there is three division winners. Those three division winners. So sorry, there's one winner for each division, meaning
Yeah.
there's three division winners for each league or each conference. Those teams automatically make the playoffs. There's also two wild card teams, and this is and they in those two wild card teams. So there's two wild card teams in each conference. So again, there's a total of four wild card teams in the MLB. Two from the American League, two from the National League. Those two teams play in a wild card game, which is probably one of the most exciting games for the entire season. And the winner of that team plays the higher. So typically, there's technically five playoff teams in each conference, or each in the American League and the National League. But
Okay.
after the wild card game, there's four in each league. The
Yep.
players want 12 teams, the owners want 14. The owners want 14 so they can have more playoff teams, more playoff revenue, more money generated, etc. The players don't want it because it basically reduces the incentive to be competitive, because you can basically make the playoffs with the worst record. That's all it is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But a part of me is thinking like, why would not the players want that? Like,
That's a good question. And
more teams that make the playoffs, that means more money that flows in. Isn't that better for you as a player as well?
so for the players, and this is what I think. Again, we all hear the cliche of like, oh, like you always want to win a World Series, you always want to play in the playoffs, yada yada yada. I believe what they say. I believe that they love to play in the playoffs. I just think it's for leverage. I think they're just again. I think it's strictly just we have given up Player salaries. We've given up. We've compromised so many things. We want to have 12 teams in the playoffs, and if you compromise on the competitive ballot tax, for example, we'll go to 14 teams.
Okay.
I think they secretly want 14 teams. I just think that they're using it as leverage in the bargaining chip right now.
Interesting. Okay. Ah, man, what a messy situation. I'm not a hardcore baseball fan. I'm pretty casual.
Yeah.
So I go to, I don't know, a game, maybe two every season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's and it sucks because the Jays, who are from Toronto,
Yeah.
we're doing
Mm-hmm.
so well over the last couple seasons now. And
Mm-hmm.
there
Well,
was
more
so
so
much
just last year, but yeah. Yeah.
there's so much excitement growing around the team. And it just
Yeah.
sucks. Like I really wanted to watch Blue Jays baseball this summer. Sorry, I dropped
Mm-hmm.
something. This summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, that may potentially
Mm-hmm.
be robbed from us.
Like here's the thing, right? Like baseball, there's no easier way to put it. Baseball's a mess right
Yeah.
now. It is an absolute mess. So like this has happened, and it's such, and so and just the and the reason I think so many fans are so frustrated is a couple of weeks ago, Robert Manfred said, we view as losing games as an absolutely disastrous outcome. But yet the MLB, I think the MLBPA took like 3 months or 4 months to even, sorry, not the PA, the MLB and the owners took a very long time to come to the negotiating table with the MLBPA. Fine. And I think they actually negotiated, but or the MLBPA extended an offer to the MLB, but then the MLB took 3 weeks to respond to that offer, even just to respond to that offer. That's not consistent with a disastrous outcome. That's basically you're trying to wait them out to the deadline and then force them to take the offer that you're going to give them, and the players haven't budgeted on that, which I don't blame them for not doing that. Like they're trying to bully you into taking an offer that's not good for you, good for them. So that's happened. Robert Manfred, who's the commissioner, also called the World Series trophy a piece of metal. Like if you do that
Wow.
in any sport, if you call the trophy or the thing like a piece of metal, you're cracked. You're fucked. Like so that happened.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
He failed to
What a
punish
dick.
the Houston Astros for one of the biggest cheating scandals in pro American sports in the last decade.
What did he do? What did he do?
Okay, so for anyone who has not followed baseball in the last
I know what
since
the
20
I know what the Astros did, but what
yeah
did he say on
yeah.
them?
So just to summarize here, in case people don't know, the Houston Astros installed a camera in their outfield. They could see signs, which is basically telling you which pitch is coming, and they would smash, and they had a monitor in their dugout, and they would hit a garbage can, basically relaying the sign to the batter. That basically gave them a ridiculous advantage against pitchers and the visiting team because they only had access to that software. Um, and they basically got a World Series as a result of it against one of the best teams ever constructed in the LA Dodgers. Again, maybe not one of the best teams ever constructed, but they were the best team in the MLB that year. So what did Robert Manfred do? He basically said, if you tell us everything, we'll give you full immunity, no penalty, no
Whoa.
nothing.
Fuck.
Basically, they still have their trophy, they still have their banner, they still have their championship rings. He basically said that's bad, don't do it. But the Astros were fined like they were fined a very significant amount of money. I think they had some sort of draft pick confiscation, but the players themselves had absolutely no consequences. Um, like man, like Robert
Okay.
Manfred's just yeah.
I thought Gary Bettman was bad.
That's the thing, right? Like, but here's the thing: they're both horrible in so many of their own ways. But yeah, I've wanted Robert Manfred gone for a while. I just don't vibe with the dude. Um,
I have
yeah.
never ever heard of his name until like literally 2-3 weeks ago.
Mhm,
And I have the worst impression of him.
mhm. Like if you just go like if you yeah like there's a lot of really good videos on YouTube from like people who like content creators for baseball and the MLB on YouTube, and I would strongly encourage people listening just to kind of get a bit of a more kind of controlled and like more kind of informed opinion on this, because I'm basically just going off the top of my head right now because there's so many things you could say about the baseball right now. But
Yeah.
like Jeff Passan, who's probably one of my favorite baseball journalists, talks about this all the time. But like baseball is so like they're not taking fan interest into account. They basically they have such a very like they have a very narrow way of looking at the CBA negotiations right now, and you have players saying, "This is for we're doing this for the fans. Like we're trying to build a better future for the people, like for the younger generation and the people who are coming up." But like, man, you're not gonna have any games. There's gonna be no league in like 5 years if this keeps going on. Like, anyways, I don't know.
Man, I hope baseball comes back. We've been talking for some time now. I think this is a good place to end today's episode, or this ride 28.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
might actually be back.
Ride one for today, but yes, yeah.
This was a very, very non-hockey heavy episode,
Not
but
at
I
all.
think
Not at all.
we got
No,
a lot
I
of
think
the big news things out of the way with. I've been wanting to talk about the MLB situation for a long time now, so I'm glad you brought this up.
yeah.
And I know you're very passionate about this as well. I've been looking at your.
I'm very frustrated. Very frustrated. Like I've been trying my best not to support them financially at all during this process, and it's working actually.
It's,
So,
it's working.
yeah.
Okay. For today, that's it for now. Do you want to do the outro?
Yeah. So thanks again for listening. Again, be sure to take a look at our link tree, follow all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, keep an eye on the highlights. There's a lot coming, especially if you're a new listener. Some of our better clips from early episodes which you might have missed are going to be on our YouTube channel and our TikTok. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.